Okay, now we've completed the first side of our neurologic examination and evaluated all the neuroanatomic structures above the level of the foramen magnum. And that's the cerebrum, the cerebellum, and the brainstem. Now we're going to look at gait. And for this, we'll be moving outside in just a moment to show you that. But first off, we're going to evaluate this part of our exam and decide if the gait is normal or if there is incoordination of all four limbs or weakness in all four limbs, paresis in all four limbs, or paralysis in all four limbs, or if it's just the pelvic limbs involved, or if we're dealing with ataxia of just the hind limbs, paraparesis, paraplegia. And so that will be what we'll be evaluating on an animal with neurologic deficits. This, of course, is a normal dog, so we're just going to watch the dog walk, trot, and turn. Okay, now we had an impression of the overall gait. We need to do some special tests to stress each limb a little bit to make sure that it's functioning okay. Because sometimes they may be weak in their hind limbs and it may make their thoracic limbs look pretty normal, but they can also be affected if we just have them walk on their thoracic limbs alone. So what we're going to do is we're going to hemi-stand her, have her stand on just two limbs on one side and compare the two sides. We're also going to kind of move her and see how well she will hemi-walk. We started down here and do that so we can hemi-walk her. And of course we're going to repeat it on the other side as well. So we can compare the thoracic limbs with the pelvic limbs. We're going to do what we call wheelbarrowing. And we'll start her again at the end of the table and get her to walk on just her thoracic limbs alone. Does pretty well, huh? And then we're going to have her walk on just the pelvic limbs alone. We'll have her walk backwards, which is not as easy for them to do. And here's walking forwards. So in that way, we're able to pick up subtle deficits of the pelvic and thoracic limbs. Okay, another test that's very, very helpful to us is conscious proprioception, because lots of times if a dog looks pretty normal or you're just not sure if it's an orthopedic problem or a neurologic problem, then testing conscious proprioception, if this is abnormal, then it's most likely a neurologic problem. So I'm going to support her under her chest here and stand the foot knuckled over, and as you can see, she briskly replaces that foot back into the proper position. And we can do all the feet that way. Now, it's important to support them, not just to take your hand away and do it this way, because if they have any deficit, they might fall. She's normal, so she didn't fall, but always support them underneath the abdomen with your right hand, and then with your left hand, stand them knuckled over, and she'll replace it real briskly. So that's conscious proprioception. That's very helpful to detect subtle neurologic dysfunction. Then we can test hopping, and in the hopping, I'm going to support her under her abdomen a little bit and just pick up one leg and shift her off to the side. That's hopping on the front. Just in kind of an abnormal position here to get the shot. And then the hind limbs, we can just shove her over and see how well she hops. Okay? And these two tests are very helpful for subtle dysfunction of the nervous system.